Good morning, guys. I was trying to fix it. Happy Monday. Bring you a little closer. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show, where we are having confessions and conversations about your everyday life. My name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy Specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? Good morning. My vacation has officially ended, and I'm officially back at work. So, great morning, Miss Valerie. And is Margaret on? Because I thought about you guys yesterday. Or was it Saturday? I think it was yesterday morning. Don't we have a call scheduled? Aren't we talking sometime soon? Because I was thinking about y'all. Because I was like, I haven't talked to them. And then I remember the conversation that we were supposed to have a call. Or we have a call scheduled. I can't remember. Margaret, do you remember? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show. Good morning. Good morning. And how do you do? I'd like to introduce myself. Y'all, Miss Margaret, I'm going to have to catch the replay of your show because I was sleeping real good at 6 o'clock this morning. Good morning, my sunshine. I was just asking Valerie, don't we have a call to schedule like soon? Or did we miss it? Or we were talking about it? Anyway, y'all, welcome to the Fearless Morning Show. Please make sure you share because sharing is caring. If your friends and family do not have Facebook, don't forget that we have a YouTube channel so you can binge watch all the Fearless Morning Shows, and I'm going to post it right here so that you can watch all the Fearless Morning Shows together. And I've got my other links. So I hope everybody had a safe weekend. I hope you had a great 4th of July, whether you celebrate it or you don't celebrate it. I hope you enjoyed your time away. How about that? I hope you enjoyed your time away because that's what's important. You had a break from work. Y'all, again, thank you for all the birthday wishes and the birthday thank yous. I had a great birthday. We had a great time. If you missed the video, we went to San Juan and we had fun. I think that's definitely one of the places I want to retire to for sure. Okay, because y'all know it was Costa Rica. San Juan's coming in a close second. So make sure that you check out that video. And then don't forget, August the 23rd through the 25th is the Live Past Crazy Girlfriends Retreat. So make sure you grab your tickets for that. But first on the stop is Tampa. We're doing a book signing. That is July 27th. And let me post that. So you guys you can grab a copy of the book before I get there. And that will be in Tampa. All right, guys. So if you missed the video on my birthday, please go back and make sure you check it out because let me tell you, I learned so many lessons out there on that water. I think I'm going to do, if you're interested, I'm going to do a mini series on it, and I'm putting it together now. And just some lessons that I learned about being on the water that I want to pass along to my sisters. So if you're interested in joining that class, let me know. And I'm going to be posting more about that soon. So my name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy Specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? If this is your first time joining, welcome. I appreciate you joining the Fearless Morning Show. We've been doing this since October 2017. Good morning, Miss Dixon. We've been doing this since October 2017. It wasn't November. Let me double check because I want to say it's October 2017 and November 2017. And I appreciate everybody who has been with me on this journey ever since because I am my sister's keeper and I am the only Live Past Crazy Specialist. All right, so the quote for today: be willing to be a beginner every single morning. And that's by Meister Eckhart. I'm going to post it. post a quote down there. Be willing to be a beginner every single morning. And that's important because when we're on this journey, we automatically want to have the answers all the time. Or we automatically want to be an expert at everything. Like, we don't want to go through the learning curve. And sometimes you absolutely have to go through the learning curve. There's no way around it. You have to. Why would you not want to? And I think that is why we don't change. That's why we don't start change, because we don't want to be a beginner at it. We want to already know all the things. I'm guilty of that. I already want to know all the things already. I don't want to have to learn anything. Like, I want to know instantly. And because I'm guilty of that when I start a job. Like, I started this job, but I want to know everything that the person that's been there 30 years know. And I want to know it tomorrow. And it's not possible. So be willing to be a beginner every single morning. And that's going to keep you in the mindset of always learning, always seeking, and then just renewing yourself every day. Because you don't want to be a know-it-all. Guilty of being a know-it-all. So be willing to be a beginner every single morning. So today, the feel start of the day. And I got this. Y'all, please go back and watch that. I think my birthday is the 29th, so it was that Monday that we did the morning show, because we did the boat tour on that Sunday. And so just a brief of it is that y'all know I got on my fear of water, but I for real got in the ocean on a small boat and allowed my 22-year-old niece to drive me out in the middle of the ocean with nothing but a life jacket on. And she's speeding through the waters like it's nothing. And then to be out there and to realize how small you are, and to realize how much of a difference one person can make in this vast world, and that you can immediately affect your situation if you choose to. If you choose not to, then you just go along to get along, and it's all up to you. Go back and watch that video. But it made me think about something. It allowed me, and this is the first thought of the day, acknowledge where I've been and then focus on where I'm going. So when I'm on the boat and my back is to where I'm going, it is to there. So I am looking at where I've been. So on the way there, I have the opportunity to acknowledge where I've been. I acknowledge it. I can see the mountains in the background. I see the city. And it was so symbolic, because then I was able to acknowledge the things that I've been through. I was able to acknowledge where I had been, the mountains. You could see the dips of the valley. And it was all very metaphoric, at least for me. Because I was like, why? My friend was like, JoJo, turn around and look where you're going. I was like, no. I got to see how far I've come first. I need to acknowledge where I've been first. And then when we got there, when we got to our destination, so we went to 3 different islands, and y'all know I'm petrified. I was petrified of water. Now I'm good to go. I enjoyed the 3 islands that we went to, but on the way back, I was able to focus on where I was going, or where I had been, where I was going, because where I'd been, I'd already established. Where I'm going, sometimes when we were in the boat, so here's the story. You're in the boat, and the guy comes and says, follow the line. I'm going to make a way for you. Follow the line. And if you stay in the white line that I made for you, the clear watermark that I made for you, then you're going to get to your destination. And so when I was looking out to where we was going, you could see the islands way, they were not close. You could see them way out there. And sometimes I think that's how life is. And at least for me, because I'm always going to talk about things from JoJo's perspective. I can see the places I want the Fearless Morning Show. I can see the places I want Be Fearless Incorporated. I can see where I want to do for my sister's keeper. I can see all of those things, but they seem so far off, and I cannot figure out how to get there. And this is where your purpose partners come in, and the people that you take with you on your journey, and maybe the mentor that you have, and surely the good Lord. because for me it was very, it was just very spiritual and eye-opening, because the guy was like, if you stay in that path that I made for you, it's going to be smooth sailing till you get to where you need to be. And in the beginning, I couldn't comprehend, like when we were getting on the boat, and he was like, we're going to go to these 3 islands. And he's like, you can't see them from here. He was like, but there's 3 islands out there we're going to go to. He's like, but first you need to make sure you're strapped in. You need to make sure you got your life preserve on. And then the guy was like, I even got snacks and water. So he had prepared us for our journey. He gave us all the tools we need. He showed us how to drive the boat. He gave us the life jackets. He gave us all the tools we needed, and then told us where we were going. But more importantly, he said, you've got to follow the way that I told you. Because if you get off, if you get off the white water, then you're going to hit the waves, and then your ride is going to be rough, and then you're going to be scared. So stay in the way that I made you. And so there was 6 boats, and y'all, I'm only 5'2". I could lay across the entire boat, and there was 4 people in that boat. And for a woman who was petrified of water, here I am. And yeah, we went out into, we were in San Juan, so where the Caribbean and the Atlantic Ocean meet. And it's truly beautiful, because the water truly doesn't meet. You know, you see it, but you don't really think about it until you see it for yourself. And so when I get there, it's on the way, he just made sure that you followed the directions. So if he says speed up, we speed up. When he says slow down, we slow down. And just like the quote, be willing to be a new beginner every morning. That was a new beginning for me, to follow somebody else's instructions, because y'all know I'm queen of let me tell you what to do. So I'm trying to get over that. But the fact that it was very spiritual, it was very eye-opening, it's very metaphoric, that if we follow the path Jesus, the creator, however you want to call him, sets for you, then your ride becomes a little bit easier. You may know, for me it was the destination of, I know where I want the Fearless Morning Show to go. It is, I know I want to do the Sisters Keepers Retreat, August 23rd through 25th. I know that there will be more. I know that I'm afraid to venture out to do those things, but I know my destination is here. And if I just follow the path, I'm going to get to my destination. And then along the way, I have my purpose partners who keep me prepared for the things that I need along the journey. Like there's my Margarets, there's my Valeries, there's my Jasmines, and there are people that I can call on who are my purpose partners, who say, okay, yes, you're on the right path. Here, let me build you up with this. Let me give you this to help keep you going on your journey. And then I can focus on where I'm going and the outcome that I need if I stay on that path. Y'all, it was an experience and a half. And then to get to my destination and be at peace, it's like, wow. And then so I was scared going, but coming back, I had all the confidence in the world because I'd already paved the way. I'd already went there. And so in essence, for me to be my sister's keeper, for me to be the only Live Past Crazy specialist, for me to be able to tell somebody how to live past crazy, because y'all know I know crazy, for me to be able to do all those things, I first have to go and make the path. And as for anybody, that is for you who are leading your family, for wives who are leading their family, their husbands, for mothers who are leading their children, if you're in a church, in your workplace, and you may think you're not making a difference in anybody's life, but you are. And y'all know my quote, somebody's waiting to hear my voice and they will not move until I move. They're waiting for you to get on the boat and make the path clear for them so that they can, because the leader went first. And then the 6 boats came behind the leader. And sometimes the leader got so far ahead, we couldn't see him. And I got scared, like, because there were times I turned around to look to see where we were going, and I almost hyperventilated because all I could see was water. And he was so far ahead, I couldn't even see him. And he was in bright orange. I couldn't even see him. And sometimes that's the way it is. A leader has to go first so that we can make a way for all the people we want to help, for the people we want to impact, for the change that we want to see. If Margaret is on here, she wants to hashtag change the world. And that means Margaret's got to go ahead. She's got to go ahead, and sometimes her followers have got to lose sight of her because she has went ahead to make the path so that they may not see her, but they can follow her. Miss Valerie, who is Esther's purpose, has got to go ahead so that when people come through, she can show them their purpose in life. Same thing with the Fearless Morning Show. I am my sister's keeper. The only Live Past Crazy specialist. I had to go ahead so that I can make a path, so that I can tell people step by step, this is how it's going to go. This is where you need to be. Now, if you get outside of this, your crazy is going to continue. But I promise if you follow these steps, it's going to be a little bit easier for you. Y'all, I got my whole life out there on that water. Do you understand? I lived my whole best life. We were out there for 3.5 hours, almost 4 hours. And by the end of it, my sister, my daughter, my niece, and my friend, it was like, we're ready to get back on land. And I was like, what? I was enjoying my whole life out there on the water. So the ride back to where we had came from was smoother and easier. I was calmer because I'd already been. So just imagine how our family is going to, right, Miss Dixon, a leader must take risks. We have to. And a leader must be willing to be a beginner every single morning. Yes, as a leader, I have experience because I've been through some things, right? But every morning I get up and I'm a beginner at this day. I'm a beginner at the things that I'm going to face. But there are some things, there are some foundations that I've laid, some foundations that I have set, so that even though I'm a beginner at some things, my foundation is set so that I can keep on moving along the way. And it goes back to my man's quote, I never wanted to be the lion, but the lion's roar has fell upon me. And we may not have wanted, you may not have wanted to be the leader. You may not have wanted to be the change that your family sees. You may not have wanted to go and make the change. Because as a leader, when you look at this, a leader out on the water, he had to go first. He had to make the ripples in the water. He had to find the path. He had to make sure it was safe. Because there was times when he did like this and he was like, stop, I'm going to go ahead of you and make sure this is safe. And then when we got there, we docked to him as the leader. We docked to him to listen to the rules or the ways to make this a smoother transition for everybody. Y'all, I'm just saying, it was an amazing eye-opening learning experience. And I'm definitely going to do a class about it. If you guys are interested in the class, just let me know, because I'm putting it together. Now it'll be a live webinar, and we're going to walk through this thing of what I learned. And because I have the 5 keys to live past crazy. I have those, and I'll share those with you. But I picked up so much more being out there on that water, like how to face my fear for real, and not just because I faced my fear in a pool. I got over my fear of pool water. Ocean, totally different. In the ocean, you have no control. There is no control. You are either at the mercy of it, or you learn to ride with it. And you can't fight it. You can't do both. And that's why we're having a hard time. I think if y'all watched the show a couple of weeks ago, I talked about Grant Cardone saying we're doing more damage by living small than we are by living great. And a lot of us, we know we're meant to do great things, to be amazing. And it is okay to say that. It's not arrogant. It's not anything. The good Lord put you here to change the world. That's what he put you here for. And the more we force ourselves to be smaller to accommodate somebody else's ego, somebody else's hurt feelings, the more damage we're doing to ourselves and to our family, to our friends. You know your business is amazing. You know the talent you have to do hair, to take the pictures, to do the makeup, to do whatever it is. You know that you're the bomb at that. But because you're trying to force yourself to be small, because your surroundings are small, you are in direct conflict with who you are meant to be. That's why it's hard. That's why it's not prospering. That's why you have the headaches, the stress. That's why it doesn't seem to ever be working out. It's because you're trying to stuff your greatness into this little tiny thing when it was never meant to be there ever. It was never meant to be there. The Lord told you that. And if you're honest with yourself, you know it like deep down in your knower. And you got to learn to trust that because it's brought you this far. But you got to learn to trust a little more to get out there in the middle of the ocean, to ride that wave, rest in your strength, be at peace with your power, and handle your business. Because when you stop and try to force yourself into something smaller, you're doing more damage to yourself, to those around you, and you're not helping anybody. You're not helping your children. You're not helping your family. Your children are looking at you. Me and my girls, in my family, me and the girls, it is the rule that you can talk to me about anything, about how you feel about your mother, the situation, whatever, as long as you come with me with respect. And we had an amazing, eye-opening conversation yesterday. Hurtful for me, but eye-opening for me. Because kids can see things that we cannot see, and they don't have the filter of not telling the truth that we have. Because sometimes we're like, oh, I don't want to tell the truth because I don't want to hurt her feelings. My children had no mercy, and they told me the whole unadulterated truth yesterday, and it hurt my feelings. But then again, it also brought me back to this thought. I'm doing more damage by, what's the word? Placate. No, let me look it up. I'm doing more damage by molding myself to smaller than I am by releasing myself to be great. It takes way more work to fold yourself up, to dumb yourself down. It takes way more work to force yourself to a level that is no longer serving you. And when you force yourself to that level that's no longer serving you, you are now no longer living to your purpose. You're no longer living your dream. You're no longer living up to your expectations. You're just not. And on that level where you have forced yourself to be on purpose, you may be angry, you may be frustrated. Like, why are things not moving the way they should be moving? They're not, my sister or my brother, simply because that's not your level anymore. You've been at that level. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's simply your level is here now. Now, your level is here. You got, as the leader, you got to go ahead so that when you come back, you don't stay there. Because if I stay here with you, I'm going to stay here with you and we're both going to perish. But as a leader, I got to go. So when I come back, I know I can't stay. I'm coming to get you to say, this is the way you need to go. These are the steps you need to take. But if I insist on staying on your level and I'm thinking I'm helping you by staying on your level, I'm doing us both a disservice. I'm hurting both of us more than I can put into words. And you may not think that. Guilty. You may think, I can't leave my friend. We've been friends for over 20 years, 25 years. I can't leave her. This has been my mate. This has been my man. This has been my boo, my friend, my job for 20, 30 years. And it is the habit. Y'all know my brain science. Our habits are killing our free will to think. And it's because we do the same thing over and over. Because we have forced ourselves to live lower than. You can't possibly think there's different. But you know there is, but you don't trust yourself to do the more. My sister, be willing to be a beginner every single morning. Be willing to be the leader. Go out in the middle of the ocean. Make the wave. Make the way. Be the lion's roar. You may not have want to be the lion, but you are the lion's roar. Go make your statement. A lion's roar doesn't have to be loud. It can simply be a statement. I am my sister's keeper. Your statement could be hashtag, I'm going to change the world. It could be Esther's purpose. Whatever your statement is, it doesn't have to be screaming at the top of the lungs. A roar, the lion's roar simply says, here I am. Where are you? It says, let me help you. It says, there's change coming and I am it. And we have got to be comfortable. As leaders, we've got to be comfortable with that. And it's not, and I say that a lot of times because people think that leaders are arrogant or they egotistical when they're truly not. Some of them are not. Some of us are not. We simply understand that in order for change to come, I must go ahead first. And then for me going ahead first, I've got to trust who I am. I got to trust where I'm going. I've got to trust my process. And then when I come back for my sisters, you have got to trust me that I know the way. Don't you do that in church? Don't you trust your pastor? Don't we do that in religion? Because y'all know me in religion. Religion gives you something to do. Your relationship with God, spirituality, gives you something to be. If you take away your religion, if you take away the work you do in the church, guilty. First lady. When I'm no longer the first lady, I'm no longer the missionary president. I'm no longer the deaconess. I'm no longer the president of the usher board. I'm not teaching Bible study, and I'm not teaching Sunday school, and I'm not leading the choir. When I take all of that away, what I got? Because religion gives me something to do. So when I take away all the doing, do I have a relationship with God? And do I trust him to take me where I need to be? Same. Leader. I'm not putting myself on God's level. Please understand. But as a leader, I've got to go and make a way. And then when I come back to say, hey, sister, this is how you're going to live past crazy. Step number 1, this is what you need to do. You got to be willing to trust the person who is giving you the steps. Like Miss Margaret, the job coach. If you're having problems with your career, you call Miss Margaret. And you got to trust her when she says, hey, JoJo, this is what you tell the people in your organization. And this is how you get the promotion. And this is how you get you've got to trust her that she knows what she's doing. Esther's purpose. You got to trust Miss Valerie that when you come to her, she's going to show you the steps that you got to. Just like you trust your hairdresser, you trust your church, you trust your pastor, you trust everybody else, but you don't trust yourself. Or you don't trust those who come to give you more information than what you had before. Be willing to be a beginner every single morning. I love that quote. I think it is vital as leaders that, because once you understand, I'm a forever a student. I'm forever learning. There's nothing I'm going to say I'm not going to learn, because of course I'm a nerd, number 1. But I absolutely love to learn. And the more you start on this journey, the more urgent it becomes that you know more than what you knew in the beginning. It becomes urgent that you seek more information, because now you understand your journey. Now you're no longer fitting into the small, you're living to the great. And so now your eye is open to more information, to more things. So now you know you've got to learn this information. So now that I can go back and tell my sister, I've got to read these books. Y'all, these books on my computer are books I have to read. And there's 12, 13 books here that I've got to read. Not counting the 7 I just bought last week. That doesn't matter. Or the bookshelf, or the books out in the building. But it becomes urgent for me to learn what I can learn, to know what I can know, so that when my sister comes to me and she has an issue or she has a problem, I can tell her. I can say, my sister, let me help you. Let me show you the information. Let me show you what you need to do. Y'all, that ocean experience was amazing. I loved every minute of it. I'm going to do a class on it. If you're interested in it, let me know, because I'm putting it together. I'm putting the outline together now, because I learned some things that I've got to share with my sisters. And I cannot not share this with you. If we know the information, why are we keeping it from those who need the information? And don't use for an excuse, well, I had to learn, so they got to learn. Do you remember what it was like when you was going through that crazy? Do you remember what it was like? The hardship, the aggravation, the crazy, what it was really like? You remember that pain? Why would you want your sister to go through that on purpose? So think about that as you start in this journey, as you're on the way, that you are the leader. You are making the way. And this is what you have to do. Be willing to be a beginner every single morning. Acknowledge where you've been. Focus on where you're going. Because you got to acknowledge that you've come. And y'all know another one of my quotes. I've come too far to be this calm. I've come too far to be this calm. And then once you acknowledge where you've been, you can focus on where you're going. As a leader, you've got to go ahead and make a way. You're the leader of your family. You're the leader for your children. If you're a wife, you're the leader of your, sometimes the wife is the leader of the husband till the husband figure it out. Or sometimes as wives, we are our own leaders in different aspects of our home. Either way, you are the leader and you are clearing a path for those behind you to follow you. And you got to be confident in that. Don't try to stuff yourself to be small to accommodate everybody else's version of what they think you should be. Good morning, my friend. Thank you, Miss Angela. Because we're doing more damage to ourselves by living small than we are by living great. When we're living small, you are breaking your own wings. You are breaking your own spirit to fit into a box so you don't hurt somebody. I'm so guilty of this, that I knew something more than a person or my friend or whatever, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to hurt their feelings, because I didn't want them to think I was better than them, because I didn't want them to feel a certain type of way. And then here I am left angry and frustrated, but they're okay. But I'm doing more damage to me because my children are seeing me crumble or force myself into a situation to accommodate somebody else. And it's not about ego. The good Lord put you here to be great and amazing. He said we were made in his image. And is he not great and amazing? He is a creator. So if I'm made in his image, am I not a co-creator? So why would I want to force myself not to do the things that he is putting me to do? And that's why it's hard. And that's why the frustration is there, because the two are hitting your greatness and you forcing yourself to be small. And what's hurting is that box that you're trying to put yourself in. That's what's hurting. That box that you're forcing yourself in, those walls that you keep insisting on building around yourself, that crazy that you insist on keeping, continue. That's a chipmunk looking right at me in my window. That's what's hurting. That's what's causing the pain. I promise you, when you rest in your power and become at ease with your strength, when you understand that you're not meant to do those things, that you're meant for greatness and better, there is a release and a relief and the freedom that I can't even put into words that you're going to feel. And then when you acknowledge that, then the answers that, my sister, that you are seeking are there. Because I'm trying to fit myself into the small thing, I can't see the answer that I'm praying for. Jesus, send me the answer. Lord, fix it for me. I can't see the answer because I'm forcing myself on a level I was never meant to stay on. The minute I acknowledge the level I'm supposed to be on, that's when I can have the answer. Because right now, forcing myself to be small, there's no room for the answer. Where's it going to go? Because my space is full. My space is full of me trying to stay small with everybody else so I don't hurt everybody else's feelings. It's full of my hurt, my anger, my frustration. It's full of my complaining. My hands cannot possibly open up to receive the answer because I'm busy forcing myself and holding myself into a smaller version of me. But the minute I become at ease with my strength and rest in my power, the minute I understand I may not be the lion, but the lion's roar has fallen upon me, that means I've got to live my whisper out loud. My whisper is a shout, and my shout has now become a roar, and my roar is a statement. I am my sister's keeper. When I understand that and accept that and acknowledge that's what I'm supposed to be doing, the release and the freedom it is so much lighter. Then the answers come. Then I see the way. Then I know what I'm supposed to do. But if we don't do that, it's going to be hard. That's why I'm the only live past crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? I know crazy. And my sisters, I'm trying to show you that you don't have to stay in crazy. However you may define crazy. Your crazy may be defined as your kids, your husband, your job. It may be defined however you define it. It doesn't have to be my crazy, which was, an ex-husband that kept me locked up for 2 years. Your crazy doesn't have to be my crazy. But please understand, I understand crazy. And the minute I understood that I can't stay on this level, I can't help my sister here. That I've got to go here. I've got to be the leader to go here so that I can make a path for my sister so that when I come back, I can say, sister, this is the way to go. That I don't stay stuck with her. Because my job is to come and take her this way. And as leaders, we've got to do that. Right. Exactly, Miss Angela. And here's the thing that I think a lot of people may be, I ain't gonna say confused, but get it frustrated, is that it's not egotistical. It's not my ego. It is simply understanding what is. Right. We all have our version of crazy. And as a leader, you've got to be humble. But you got to have a certain level of confidence. I think there's a difference between confidence and being egotistical and having an ego. There's a fine line. And as Miss Angela said, you've got to humble yourself. And if you can stay humble, you are going to make it easier for the next woman coming behind you. Because if you hit, and y'all, we can all relate to this in the workplace where you have a leader or a woman leader or a sister or whatever, someone you look up to, and their ego is so big that you can't even give them the compliment of acknowledging, my sister, I'm proud of you that you made it this far, because their ego will not allow them to accept it. You understand what I'm saying? Does that make sense? So there's a fine line between being confident as ego. As a leader, I'm confident that this is what I'm supposed to do. And I'm resting in the power of understanding that I'm acknowledging that and I'm free to live in that. My ego is checked. I have got to stay humble in that, because if I don't, then I'm going to be back here. So for me, if I know I want to be my sister's keeper, if I want to continue to be the only Live Past Crazy specialist up here as the leader, I've got to always, and I'm constantly reminded that I'm here, that I was once here, and what it felt like to be here. And as a reminder of that, when I come back to help my sister, I acknowledge that I completely, that's why I tell everybody, I understand. I've been the woman who had the postpartum. I've been the woman, I could not touch my child because I didn't understand how to care for her, because I had no nurturing with her when she was first born, because I was sick and I didn't see her for 2 weeks after she was born because I was near death's door. And then when I did see her, she was in the hospital for 31 days. And then when I brought her home, my husband wouldn't allow me to touch her. He wouldn't allow me to take care of her. So I had no mother instinct toward this child at all. Period. She cry, I cry. We both crying. And so I understand the postpartum. I understand I tried to kill myself. I understand wanting to jump out that window and trying to jump out the window, and the good Lord locked the window. I understand all of that, and figuring out how I'm going to get around this window, because I'm going to kill myself this day, even if this window don't open. I've been there. I've been there with the lights off, the gas off, the water off, no car insurance, no car repossessed, no food in the house, wearing other people undergarments, other people toothbrush. I've lived in a shelter. And so when I say I can understand all steps of crazy, when I come back to help my sister, whatever level she's been on, I've been locked up in the house with the ex-husband for days and not allowed to go to the bathroom or to eat. No matter your level of crazy, there's some version of it that I'm going to empathize and understand with you. And so when I come back to help my sister, I'm always humble. I'm humble here and I'm humble here because I know what it's like here. I know that feeling of urgency. I know that feeling of overwhelm. I know that feeling of nobody understands my crazy. I understand that feeling of no, you don't understand. If I stop, the crazy is going to overwhelm me. But if I don't stop, the crazy is going to overwhelm me and I don't know what to do. I understand that spot clearly every day, all day. And that's what keeps me humble. And as the Only Live Past Crazy specialist, when I come back to help my sister, I can be the calm that she needs. And for my Bible scholars, there's a scripture out there, and I can't remember the where it is, but it says, God came as a comforter. He comforted me so that I could then go comfort somebody else. And that is my role as the Only Live Past Crazy specialist, for me to be that comforter for my sister, to tell her who comforted me so that she can figure that out for herself as well. And then as we're doing that, I am leading the way. But I can't lead the way if I am forcing myself to live small, if I am forcing myself to live on the same level as she is, because I'm not on that level anymore. It doesn't make me any different. It doesn't make me better than. It doesn't make me greater than. It's simply me understanding I can't help my sister here. I was here for a reason, and now I'm here for a reason. And it is to come back to help my sister so that I can show her the steps to live past crazy, however she defines her crazy. Period. You've got to learn to be at ease with your strength and rest in your power. You've got to understand that you were not meant to fall into that. And the harder, y'all, you try to fit, the harder, and I'm always going to put it in JoJo terms, the harder JoJo tried to fit into something smaller, the harder my life was. The harder it became every single day. And I didn't understand why I'm angry or I'm frustrated. It's because I can't be great and small. And I can't be small and great, because it just doesn't go together. I'm not going to find the answer if I'm forcing myself to be small, because there's no room for the answer to come. Thank you, Angela. John 14:26. Thank you, Miss Angela. And it says, he was the comforter and he did it for me. So now that I understand what he did for me, I got to go do the same thing for somebody else and tell them about him. Period. Those were the rules. Those are regulations. Y'all go back and watch the show where I did this, and it's labeled birthday thank you, or thank you birthday, or thank you for the birthdays. And I talk about the experience of being on the water, and the gentleman, y'all, I got my whole life out there on the water because he was the leader. And he simply said, if you follow in the path, if you stay in the way that I made for you, your ride is going to be smooth. You can't see where we're going. I'm going to take you there, but you've got to follow me, and you got to follow my signs. He said, when I do this, I want you to stop. When I do this, I want you to go forward. And he said, you're not going to even see me make those signs. I'm depending on the people behind you, behind me, to give you those signs. So if I'm the sixth person in line, I'm depending on boat 5 to tell me to stop, go fast. And boat 5 is depending on boat 4. 4 is depending on 3. 3 depending on 2. 2 depending on 1. And 1 is depending on the leader. So we are all our sisters and our brothers' keeper. Y'all, I got my whole life out there on that water. I'm trying to tell you. And he said, even if you can't see me, the people behind me are going to give you the signals that you're going to need to get to your destination. I couldn't see the 3 islands we were going to. All I knew is that I'm out in the middle of a boat that is the length of my entire body, with 4 people, with my 22-year-old niece driving me. And I am depending on a man that I can't even see to take me to a destination that I paid, that I said I wanted to go to. There was no need for me not to trust him out in the middle of the ocean. There's no turning around then, because I said I wanted to go. I said, this is where I want you to take me. And then I paid for him to take me there. And even though I can't see him, he said, if you just stay in the path, I'm going to make it smooth. But if you get outside of this path, the wave's going to be rocky. And they're going to knock you around. But if you get back in the path, it's going to be easier. And even if you can't see me, follow the signs of the people in front of you. That's the purpose of your purpose partners. That's the purpose of your friends. That is the purpose of the Only Live Past Crazy specialist. That's my purpose. I'm giving you the steps and the signs to the destination that you can't see, even though you said you wanted it. And as leaders, that's what we're doing. Y'all got my whole life out there on that water. I'm trying to tell you. Please go back and watch that video. It was amazing. You got to acknowledge where you've been. And you got to focus on where you're going. And focusing on where you're going. Absolutely, Miss Dixon. Absolutely. We've got to trust, and we have to. Faith is a verb. It is an action. You cannot pray. And y'all, if you've been with the Fearless Morning Show for a minute, y'all know what I'm about to say. I do not understand when we pray this prayer. Jesus, help me. Lord, give me the answer. And I'm speaking in tongues. I'm falling out. They have sprayed me down and deep fried me in holy oil. They have laid hands on me. They've done all the things to me. And I say, oh, thank you, Lord. I've been delivered. I no longer have to worry about this. But before I leave the church, before I leave the altar, I have picked up the crazy. I've picked up the very thing that I said I wanted freedom from. I have picked it up and put it back on my back and walked out the door. And even if I didn't pick it up at the door, it was still at my house and I still didn't do anything about it. And then I'm praying again next Sunday, wondering why I still got the same problem. If you are going to pray and not take action, what is the purpose of the prayer? What was the purpose? We are both the problem and the solution. I know the problem and I know the answer to the problem, but if I'm not willing to do the work of the answer, I might as well accept the problem and live with it. That, my friend, is the definition of crazy and complain. If you're going to complain, but you're not going to do anything about it, then there's no need to complain. If you hate your job, you hate your situation, you hate your marriage, and all of these things are not fixable, and they're not going to do, you're not willing to do anything about it, don't waste your time complaining, because here's the problem, here's the answer, this is the work of the answer right here. If you're not willing to do this part, you don't want the answer. You don't want your prayer answered. You don't want to answer, because it's easier for me to complain and say, I'm waiting on the Lord. I prayed about it and the Lord ain't fixed it yet, so it must be this way. No, the Lord told you the answer, JoJo, and you heard it, but you don't want to do the work because it's hard. I don't want to do that, Lord, because you know they're going to talk about me. Guilty. I don't want to divorce my ex-husband. Lord, he's been a pastor for 30 years. Well, JoJo, you going to get black eyes for the next 30 years. You know, he pushed you out that car. He going to push you out another one. He choked you out this time. Next time, he going to kill you. He slapped you across the room this time. What he going to do next time? He pulled out your hair in the center of your head the first time. What you think he going to do next time? I know the answer. The answer is to leave. But I don't want to do the work of that. Because, oh, wow, it's going to be so hard. I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. I don't want to go against mom and them. Well, you know, and then I think sometimes we become attached to the complaining. We become attached to the story that we tell. So as long as I can tell the story and you feel sorry for me, then I don't have to take responsibility for changing how my story is going to change the outcome of my story. Some people like to complain. So thank you, Miss Dixon. Faith without works is dead. If you're going to pray and stay the same, why are you praying? And you can't say Jesus wants me to stay here. I feel like he wants me to stay here. No. In your quiet time, you know, right before you go to sleep, when that's when you true with yourself for real, right when you wake up, when you have that real conversation with yourself before your brain wakes up and you know the answer right there, that's Jesus telling you what to do. But because it's hard, because when you wake up for real, and you realize the steps you got to take to get past that crazy, or to get the answer to the prayer, or to receive that answer of the prayer that you just asked for, it's going to take a little work. That's why you will always have the same problem. That's why it will never go away. You will always complain. No one will ever love you enough. The job will never pay you enough. They will always be crazy. You will always have the same problem, and it will multiply and intensify until crazy explodes in your face. Guilty. And I'm telling you, as my sister's keeper, as the only live past crazy specialist, as Miss Dixon said, faith without works is dead. You've got to do. Period. And if you're not willing to do the work, then you must be willing to accept your current destination. Period. There's no way around that, my sister. And you can say, JoJo, but you don't understand what it's like. Oh, but I do. I promise I do. I may be 44, but please understand, I understand some things. And what it boils down to, my sister and my brother. Good morning, Pam. This is my sister, Pam. She's my older sister. What it boils down to is, am I willing to do the work, to do the hard work of relieving myself of the burden that is there? Sometimes we have invited crazy in. Sometimes we ourselves are the crazy. And it's going to continue, my friend. It will continue. It will continue. It will continue. It will continue. You got to be willing to do the work. And if you're not willing to do the work, you can. My belief, and this is just JoJo's belief, is you cannot complain. And then my next question is, what are you praying and why are you praying for an answer that you already have, but you don't want to do the work of it? What's the point? What's the point? Why are you praying? Because I at one point I realized I was getting on Jesus' whole last nerve. Because I was praying for the answer for the same thing when it just required me doing the work. And then when I did the work, the answer came. My prayer was answered. So acknowledge where you've been. Focus on where you're going. The quote for today, be willing to be a beginner every single morning. And as a leader, that is essential. We are learning things every single day. And as leaders, we go and we make a way so that I can come back and help my sister and be my sister's keeper. Period. That's what we have to do. So I hope this has helped somebody today. Welcome to the Fearless Morning Show. We have been doing this since October 2017, so I appreciate you so much. Don't forget to please share the show because sharing is caring. If your friends and family do not have Facebook, we do have a YouTube channel where you can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows over there. Don't forget about the Girlfriends Retreat. The Live Past Crazy Girlfriends Retreat is coming up August the 23rd through the 25th in Florida. Now, if you want a more intimate event, like JoJo, I just want to be me and my sisters where we really, I'm not a counselor, first of all, but I empathize and sympathize and understand. And there are some steps that we can walk through and go through to help you get past the crazy. If you want a more intimate event, then you can reach out to me. Let me post a link to that and book some time so that we can talk. And don't forget, there is going to be a book tour. First stop is Tampa, Florida. That's July 27th. Oh, yeah. Oh, July 23rd through 24th, I will be in Tampa. Yay. No, Vegas. Duh. I'm going to Vegas July 23rd through 24th. The 27th, I will be in Florida. So make sure that you join me, stay up to date. Make sure you send your friends and your family over to our Fearless Morning Show page because we do have one as well. But please make sure you share the show, guys, because sharing is caring. I appreciate everybody that shows up every single morning to listen to the Fearless Morning Show. And I used to say, up until 2 weeks ago, who am I? I'm just JoJo from Far City. I'm just JoJo that worked at McDonald's most of her life. I'm just JoJo, Gerald Waddell's daughter, Sophronia's child. Who am I? And I realized that you've got to stop saying that because that's who you are. You are Gerald Waddell's daughter. You did work at McDonald's. You are the things that make you who you are right now. So we got to stop saying, who am I? Questioning who you are. You know who you are. Be at ease with your strength. Rest in your power. Stop fitting yourself into a smaller version of you. You're doing more damage by living smaller than living great. That's by my man, Grant Cardone. Please make sure you go to my page and check out the video where I talk more about being on the water. And I am going to do a class. It's probably going to be next week or maybe the end of the month about the things that I learned. And y'all, to be my sister's keeper, I got to go. I got to make a way. And then I got to come back and help you. And I can't help you if I stay on the same level. And I got to be okay with that. And the minute you become okay that you're not meant to be small, and this applies to absolutely everybody. You're not meant to be forced into this small version of you. The minute you understand that you are meant to be great and greater, the freedom that you have to be who you're supposed to be is overwhelming. The ease of it all. It's so much easier. I wish y'all know, here's my sticker. And y'all know, if this is your first time to the Fearless Morning Show, I have quotes everywhere. Don't make me bring them out. Freedom 2019. And that's what I'm feeling for the rest of the year. Because this is what I realized. We often ask for things here. We ask for things here. We accept them here. And that is it. I'm asking for all things here. Sometimes we don't ask for things way up there because we assume we can't get them or we can't achieve them. So we ask for things here and we accept them here. And here is not where we were supposed to be. We're supposed to be up here. The good Lord said it gives him great pleasure. Great pleasure. And then he said I could come boldly. He said he gives him great pleasure. I could come boldly. He said, and if I take care of the birds and the fowls of the air, how much more pleasure does it give him to take care of me? And then if you're a real God's girl, he is a king, correct? We live in his kingdom, correct? So that means I'm a kingdom citizen, correct? So I have certain expectations and certain rights as a king's kid living in the kingdom as a kingdom citizen. Amen? So it's not my job to worry about things. That's the king's job. The king makes sure I'm taken care of as his kid. Period. And when you rest in that and understand, oh, I'm a child of the king, like for real, for real. Oh, and I live in a kingdom for real. And the king takes care of his kingdom and everything within it. And I am a kingdom citizen. And Jesus don't need my help. Because the kingdom has its own army. He don't need me to be on the battlefield. Because even when Peter tried to cut the man's ear off, he said, Peter, look, dog, I can call how many legions of angels down? So what I don't need you to do, Peter, is be fighting my battle for me because I got this. Because we live in a kingdom. All he asked me to do is to acknowledge him and live. And he said, I'm going to show you the way. If you follow that, I got you, boo. And so that's what we're going to do. So if you're true and you live in a king's kingdom and you're a king's kid, you allow the king to do what he does. And he doesn't need our help. So I don't know why I got off on that tangent, but A to the man. How about that? All right, guys, please make sure you share the show because sharing is caring. The quote for the day, be willing to be a beginner every single morning. And the fearless thought of the day, acknowledge where you've been. Focus on where you are going. And that's important. If y'all missed that video where I talked about that, please make sure you go back and watch it because it is important. Please make sure you share the show. The link for the Facebook page, for the YouTube channel is there where you can binge watch all the Fearless Morning shows. We have over 415 shows over there. We've been doing this for 2 years now. So I appreciate you for coming. My name is Yamitra Jojo Waddell, the only Live Past Crazy specialist. So what better place to be than here with me? And as Miss Dixon said, faith is action. Why are you praying if you're not willing to do the action? Why are you praying for the answer if you're not willing to do the work? A to the man, Miss Dixon, thank you for helping out in the show today. A to the man. I am my sister's keeper. If y'all missed the video about the lion's roar, not wanting to be the lion and the lion's roar fell on me, if you go over to the YouTube channel and type it in, it's going to show up. And it simply says, we may not have wanted to be the leaders for our family, but the lion's roar has fell upon us. And it starts with a whisper. And that's that thing that won't leave you alone. That whisper. Your whisper then becomes a shout because you can't not say something about the things that you know. And then you've got to live your whisper out loud. And then your shout becomes a roar. And your roar doesn't have to be loud. It can simply be a statement. And my statement is, I am my sister's keeper. Period. So if I can help my sister, that is what I'm going to do. Period. So I hope you guys have an amazing Monday. This is my true first day. Y'all, I've been off work for 6 days. And then I worked for a day and I was off, y'all know, for the holiday. Pray for your sister Edward today. It's going to be real interesting. I hope you have an amazing Monday. Please make sure you share the video. As always, I appreciate you guys watching the Fearless Morning Show. And I will see you here bright and early tomorrow morning. Have a good one.